Vickery with the city of Modesto. I've met many of you around town and in other networks, and I've been here before as well, handful of times. So I appreciate everyone and what you're doing in the community, taking time out early in the morning like this to connect and share ideas with other community leaders, and just to be here and be committed to making this city better and this community better. I appreciate that. So some housekeeping stuff at your table, whether you're new or you're here every month, please sign in at the sign-in sheet there. And take a look at the flyers on the table, see what's coming up in the community and what's happening around us, see how you can get engaged in those things. I am here this morning because, and many of you probably saw it as you walked in, because the city of Modesto has some new technology, and I was asked to come and share about our new mobile app and our new website. So I'm excited to be here this morning, and I have a clicker in my pocket. I'm gonna get started here, let's see. Okay, so the city of Modesto, we're using innovative technology to enhance city services. And I think it's interesting, last fall, I was questioned by a reporter when I was talking about some of the innovative projects we're working on as the city, and this reporter said, innovation? But that's not how city government behaves. Government isn't expected to be innovative. So I thought about that for a little bit, and I thought, but we are expected to provide quality services and to meet the needs of the community, and how do you do that without technology anymore? So, as a city, we're committed to effective, responsive, and transparent government. And our objective under that commitment is to develop new and creative strategies to leverage technology. Many of you have probably seen some of the technology we've had. Our website was not incredible, and we had an app called Comcate that didn't have a lot of users. It was really cumbersome, but we've developed some new technology and we're excited about that. Why have we done that? Well, because as a society, technology has changed the way we do business, the way we get information, the way we connect with each other. And so we expect immediate information. We don't search the news finds us. And we knew as a city we had to be agile enough to be searchable, be findable, and meet the citizens where they were at. Modesto residents are ready for a fundamental shift in the way they connect with city government. And so that's why I'm here this morning.
Hey, you're on the go.
That's not supposed to happen yet. But right here, I am going to introduce our brand new mobile app. It's called Go Modesto, and I have a little video to introduce that.
Hey, you're on the go. We get it. You're running here and stopping there. You're everywhere, and you see it all. That's why we need your help. The city of Modesto has just launched an official city services mobile app. It's called Go Modesto, and it's the easiest way for us to connect with residents. It allows you to get information, report a city issue, pay bills, find transit routes, and more, all on the go. Go Modesto is an innovative tool that provides quick and easy access to online systems and helps our residents submit service requests to the appropriate department instantly.
Wow.
Go Modesto gives you the power to report a number of concerns with just one click.
Hey!
GIS mapping shows exactly where the service request is needed for a quick and efficient action.
Oh.
And this app is so smart, it speaks 17 different languages and even notifies you when the job is done.
Nice.
Check out the cool features that are offered and make our city better. Go to public meetings. Go pay a bill. Go take a ride on Max. Go get a job. Go Modesto. Stay connected to the community with city announcements, get information if there's a city emergency, or share an innovative process or service idea with City Hall. It's that easy. Go download your mobile app today. Get connected on the go with Go Modesto.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the app a little bit here. Oh, stop. You guys are funny. Okay, so I am, let's see. Okay, Andrew. Do I hit the concourse video? Okay, I think I got it. All right, so everybody take out your cell phone. I'm going to walk you through how to download it because I think we all need to be using it and telling others about it. You're going to go to your app store right here. And then you're going to look for Go Modesto. One word. Let's see. Maybe you have to use a capital. Go. Okay, two. See, you could. Never mind. You don't need my help at all. All right. So there it is. You would open it and download it. I already have it on my phone. So I'm going to show you really quickly what it looks like when you open it up. Got a nice Love Modesto shot. Shout out to Love Modesto. You can see a menu right from the home screen of what it does, how you submit a service request, real easy, click through. You're going to choose what, you even have a search window up here, but you can choose what you want to submit a request for, streets, alleys, sidewalks, storm-related stuff. Bright ideas. This is something that's new. We're actually looking for community feedback on how we can provide better services. We have connections to city updates, important information here. Here we have the summer watering schedule. You guys know we're up to 2 days a week again? It's exciting, okay. So then we have direct connection to city leaders. So your city council members are all in this phone. We have bios and email addresses, so you can directly connect with them. It's really a great app, and it's doing a lot. It's going to make your lives a lot simpler when you want to pay a utility bill, search for jobs, and report concerns. So we are excited. The most important functionality of it, I think, is to submit service requests anytime you see illegal dumping in an alley or a street light that's out or what some of the other examples that you saw in the video. And you can also use it through your desktop computer. So on our new app, on our new website, let's see, we have the ability to submit service requests this way too. And you can see on the left-hand side, kind of a sneak peek of our new website. So I'm going to talk about that for just a second because I am running out of time. It's a new online experience. So we spent about the last 6 months renovating the website that we had in place. It took a team of probably 20 people, representatives from each department, and a lot of IT support to make it happen. But we put out an RFP and we selected a vendor who had done 2,000 municipal websites. They're the best at what they do. And we really wanted to make sure we included some important things. One of them is a highly searchable website. So people don't have time anymore to hunt around a lot or to know what department, whatever service lives in. They want it to be searchable. And it needed to be user-friendly. So we made sure that it was easy to find what you needed, and it had a friendly appearance, easy to navigate. It was an intuitive system, and it had a lot of visual appeal, and you'll see. This is what our homepage looks like now. If you go to modestogov.com, you'll see a whole new website. It's a responsive site, so that means whatever you see on your desktop, you're going to see on your cell phone. And it's highly searchable, so you can see up here, we have the share buttons. Let's see, is that ooh, yeah, look. The Facebook, the Twitter account, the Instagram, YouTube, and anything that you see on our website you can share within your network. Let's see. So lower on the page, you'll see a Stay Connected section. That's where you can subscribe to city press releases so you can see what's happening and keep a pulse on what's going on in the community. Important things like the watering schedule or graffiti events, things like that. And then here you can also toggle over and look at our Facebook feed. Meetings and events, we wanted to make it really easy to find public meetings like our council meetings and special committees. And then we also wanted to keep you posted on what was happening as far as events in our city. So Summer Traditions is what's up there right now. And then at the lower part of the homepage, you can see how to connect with your city leaders, your elected officials, what our strategic commitments are as a city, and then how to get involved. A lot of people don't realize that we actually use a lot of volunteer help, and we appreciate the volunteers that come and help lead and guide our city in important ways. This is what one of the interior pages looks like. This is the utilities department page. And what we've done is looked at analytics of why people were going to our website, what pages they were hitting on before, and we were really strategic about making sure that in the left-hand navigation bar, those things were called out. So water conservation, frequently asked questions, service requests, flooding. And then we have a form center, which is kind of cool. This is through the Parks Department, where you would sign up to be a volunteer, and you just do it right through our website, hit submit, and it goes directly to the person who organizes that program. So we are really excited about this. It's been a long time coming, and we welcome your feedback. Any ideas you have to make it better, more efficient, I would love to hear your ideas. And so I'm going to thank you and end it now because I don't want to take a whole lot more time. And we have a table in the back. Randy Saffold, wave. Randy's our public-facing technology guy. And then we have Shannon Parker from the Parks Department. And y'all know Mark Garcia. So we'll all be here afterwards. We'll help you download the app and answer any questions you have. Thank you so much and be blessed. I forgot something. I'm sorry. So this is where I'm supposed to transition to the question. So stand up and talk to people, meet someone new. I think at this point we're going to ask you to consider this question. Looking back at your childhood, who was the most influential in transmitting you to a love for learning? And what did they do to give you that love? That's the question.
All right, let's go ahead and transition and start getting ready for our program. This is a great topic. How many of you just kind of had a great time reminiscing about your childhood and just something? Isn't that really cool? Really, really great stuff. It's funny. Anyway, I'm not going to make fun of people today, so I'm just going to be kind of nice anyway. This is a really serious subject. It's Marvin's friend. It says Joe Duran, Marvin's friend. Oh my gosh. Who put that up there? Oh my God. Okay, that's thrown me for a loop. I'm stunned. I don't know what to say. Anyway, it really is my privilege to introduce one of my heroes. One of the things that, from an intentional perspective, we at City Ministry Network are really looking at and trying to do is kind of get out of the way in many ways and try to allow those emerging leaders in our community to rise. How many of us are over the age of 45 or 50? Yeah. We got to get out of the way, you guys. Even better, how many are under the age of 40? I just kind of want to see the hands. See, these are our emerging leaders here. And so I'm going to have Amanda Hughes come up. She's a Modesto native, and she was part of the inaugural graduating class of the the IBC, or the International Baccalaureate at Modesto High School. So very first class. She's the program director for Stanislaus Community Foundation. And in this role, she gets to oversee all the aspects of the foundation's grant-making, scholarship, and community leadership programs. So she also provides direct oversight for the countywide third grade reading initiative, which she's going to be speaking on, Stanislaus Reads, and also the College Future Foundations. Now, there's some of us that have worked with Amanda. Can I see some of your hands? Yeah, okay. She's amazing, isn't she? I mean, she's just an amazing gal, with tremendous energy, and really one of the emerging leaders in our community, with just a tremendous, tremendous heart. And it's really our privilege and my privilege to introduce her and have her come up. So Amanda, would you come on up and share with us? Thank you. Do you have a mic?
Oh, no, but I'll take that. So, first off, wow, I am truly humbled. It's a real honor to be here today. I feel that was a wonderful introduction. Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate that. So I'm here today. I work at the Stanislaus Community Foundation, but that's not the hat that I'm wearing today. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Stanislaus Reads, which we feel is a movement that has potential to truly change lives for families in our community, and hopefully take our community in a better direction. Now, Stanislaus Reads, I'll give you the boilerplate, is a multi-agency, multi-year effort to help all third grade children be reading proficiently by the end of third grade. Now, I want to emphasize the words multi-agency, because that's truly what we're all about. Stanislaus Reads is really about multiple organizations working together, sharing data, learning together, and co-investing time, energy, and money towards a common good. And in this case, it's getting our children proficient in reading. Now, I'm going to talk about all the details about Stanislaus Reads in a minute, but I want to focus first on what the WE is. So the WE is the Stanislaus County Office of Education. It's the county library system. It's our health services agency. It's the Stanislaus Community Foundation. It's the Children and Families Commission. It's the Housing Authority. 8 school districts. I could go on. The list is growing. It's Love Modesto. It's the Boy Scouts. It's everyone. So what I'm going to talk about today is, the why behind Stanislaus Reads, why it's so important that we invest time in early learning. And I'm going to talk about, the background of the initiative and those kinds of details. But what I want you to walk away with today is that Stanislaus Reads is one, it's not a program. It's not one strategy. It's really about us working together towards this common outcome. We're not committed to one strategy, so please don't leave here today thinking, oh, I got to do that one thing. It's a lot of different things. If we're going to move the needle on third grade reading, believe me, there's not a silver bullet. It's got to be all of us doing a lot of different things and trying out a lot of different things. And I hope that you leave here today feeling like you're part of this and that you have something to contribute. And instead of saying, Amanda, I can do this, I want you to walk away and say, I'm going to do this, and I don't need permission to do it. It's in all of us to work on this together. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it quickly. So first off, I want to start with the why. So why does investing in kids, and I'm going to say kids because that's where we start, right? Why does it matter so much, and why does it make sense? And that is not a typo. I like puns. And I mean it quite literally. It actually makes sense to invest in kids. If you invest in early childhood, you actually get a return on your dollar of about 10%. Now, I try to speak to multiple audiences, so for all my finance people in this room, this makes sense. 10% is a pretty darn good rate of return. Now, I'm going to spell it out for you for the wonky people in the room. So this is actually produced by a Nobel laureate economics professor, James Heckman. They call this the Heckman curve because it really says a lot. So over here in I don't really know where yay, nice technology. So right here, this is prenatal programs. The y-axis is actually your return on your investment in human capital. So the money that you put in, what are you going to get back? And down here at the bottom is the age of a kid. So this is in mom right here, prenatal, all the way up to post-school. Now, as you see right here, that's the sweet spot. Everything goes down as this child gets older. So investments that happen right here, 0 to 5, you're going to get a better return on your buck. So I'm not saying that this doesn't matter, because believe me, it does. I'm just saying that if you want to get the biggest, return on your investment, the younger you start in that child's development, the better. Now, why is that? I'm still working on the why. Because 90% of the brain actually develops in the first 3 years of life. Right here, guys. Oops, I'm going back. Clicker's out of control. Right here. Actually, in the first 11 months of a child's life. That's when the brain is firing. Now, all the language that we speak today, all of that interaction was actually built in those first 11 months. It's when mom and dad are talking to you, when you're hearing words, when you're seeing the world around you. That is when the brain is the most active, and it's developing all these connections. We call it synapses. So, pretty wonky stuff. Let's go for the people that are more visual learners. This picture was actually taken at our local library during story time. This is a local mom, and this is a local kid. Now, I want you to look at that child. And I want you to think about you with your own children. Some of you are grandparents in this room, so think about that too. And I want you to think about that feeling when you're reading to your child. What's going on? You've got your child, I have 2 daughters, so they're looking at me, I ask them questions, they might babble back. Now they're 10 and 8, they're not babbling anymore, let me tell you that. But that's going on, and there is something happening. That child's not reading that story, but you know what that child is doing? That child is making visual images in his head as we speak. As those words, as mom is talking to him, that trusted voice that child has been programmed to listen to is hearing those words and connecting, oh, the frog jumped over the log. Log, tree. I've seen a tree. There's a tree in my front yard. And those connections continue to fire. And the more words this child hears, the more vocabulary is built. And what's interesting about reading to children is when we read to children, we're actually using a better vocabulary than our normal oral engagement. They're hearing a more sophisticated word, and it's building their vocabulary. The thing that's interesting, though, is that if a child is read to more, they will be better readers. There's studies that actually show that this child, at 2 years of age, if we measured his vocabulary, we can predict his 5th grade reading proficiency. So that's why we're talking about this today. Words matter. Hearing words matter. And we know that encouraging parents to talk, read, and sing to their child can make a huge difference on their academic and life achievement. Okay, but we're talking about 3rd grade reading, right? Because this is a 3rd grade reading program. No, I hope you figured that out yet. It starts way earlier. But I do want you to know the facts behind 3rd grade reading. So we know if a student is not reading proficiently by the end of 3rd grade, they are 4 times less likely to graduate from high school. Now, if you also happen to come from a low-income family, which I want you to understand is 1 out of 3 kids in this county, you're 13 times less likely to graduate from high school. So, in August of 2013, when I got the first email kind of talking about this grade level reading movement, and I started digging a little deeper, and there was all these emails going around between the library and the county office of ed, and we were hemming and hawing and deciding, should we invest our time in this? And then at the time, I looked at our local 3rd grade reading number, and it was 61%. Now we're at 71%. 71% of 3rd graders are not reading at the end of 3rd grade. Not reading. But still, you can clap, because guess what? We're working on it. We're doing stuff. This is important. So it's a shocker, right? I know, I was shocked too. So I want you to see that it is something that was important that we didn't know and we weren't talking about in a meaningful way. Educators know this, but did you? How many of you knew that? Okay, some of you, because I think I've had coffee with you. You're cheating. Okay, so this is the boring stuff, but it's important too. This is the initiative overview. So what is Stanislaus Reads? What is this all about? And what I want you to walk away with is an understanding. One, I said it at the beginning, this is a we movement. This is about everyone working together around a shared vision. We're raising awareness. Any one of my colleagues that sit on the steering committee for Stanislaus Reads could do this talk right now. I was the one that was available, and I'm really excited to be here. But it is really important that you know that I am just one person, and one person can't make a movement. It takes everyone. So we are raising awareness around the county, but we're also doing something really interesting, is we're testing out a lot of ideas. Because I mentioned before, we don't know what's going to work. We're going to try a bunch of stuff, and some of it's going to fail. Probably fail right away. And that's when you stop investing in that, and you redirect, and you invest in something else, and you test it, and you see if it's working. Fortunately, we have 8 school districts who are on board with us and that are willing players to learn with us. And I say that because we are learning. We're learning every day. We have definitely invested in things that didn't work, and we did pivot, and we moved. And so thank you to these 8 schools in these 8 different districts all across the county that are willing players, and they're collecting data for us, and we're constantly adapting and learning. And that's an important lesson for everyone in this room that's working on any initiative. Don't get committed to one idea. Try it out, see if it works, and keep going. Don't be discouraged. Okay, so this is what we're really all about, and I always like to point to outcome number 1, because it's about the parents. How can we empower all parents to be their child's first teacher? Because it was so cool having that conversation just a few minutes ago about what was that first learning experience you remember, who taught you to learn? It is your parents, or it should be. And that school begins the moment you're born, and it doesn't end when you're 18. So we have to really focus on that, and we have to make sure that all children show up on the first day of school ready to learn. What can we do to make sure that that happens? How can we empower parents? How can we make sure that all children attend school every day, especially in those earliest years when they're learning how to read? How can we ensure that all kids have equal access to opportunities over the summer to learn and to be engaged? We know that's not happening across the board. And then the last one's on us. How can we work as a system together towards this common agenda? Because like I said before, right now we're piloting some ideas, but gosh, how do we turn a pilot into a movement? How do we scale this? And that's going to take a lot of us. So strategy 1, and I think this applies to anything any of you are doing, is you better know the facts first. And we didn't. We didn't know anything about school readiness because we don't measure it in a universal way in this county. It's different by district, it's different by school, and it's different by kindergarten classroom. So we had no apples to apples way, or oranges way, or whatever how you call that, to compare. We didn't know what % of kids in Stanislaus County are ready for school. So our pilot schools were courageous and said, we'll measure that for you. So we have a small sample size, and this is what we've learned. And the test, or it's not a test, it's an assessment. It happens in the first 3 weeks of school, so it's really just when the child enters kindergarten, where are you at, physically, emotionally, and academically? And this is what we discovered. 70% of our pilot school kindergartners were not ready for kindergarten. It's an interesting factoid because that assessment directly relates to how they're going to do on 3rd grade reading. It's not a shocker that the number is essentially the same. At Burbank School, we were at 82% of the children were not ready. The numbers are different at every school, but I wanted to give you a sense that at some of these schools, high poverty schools, we have some work to do. And I don't call that out to say, poor Burbank. Burbank has nothing to do with that number. This is the first 3 weeks of a child's kindergarten. And I do want you to know that all Head Start students are now using this assessment, which is super cool because we have a way bigger sample size. And what we discovered is Head Start students are doing it 1.5 times better. And they're doing better on their social emotional. They can sit still for 10 minutes. And that's an important skill when you're in kindergarten. So, I'm not going to get into the details of all the strategies. I just want you to walk away with this. We need more books in the home. 60% of low-income families have 0 books in the home. So we have to find a way to get more books in the home. And we tried out a lot of things this year. We purchased 25,000 books. Thank you to the Education Foundation of Stanislaus County. SCF invested some dollars in it. This was great. Thank you, Love Modesto and the Boy Scouts. On our Love Modesto Day, got us 6,000 books that we immediately gave to the library and to the pilot schools to give out bags on the last week of school. So 5,000 kids walked home with a book bag to talk about reading over the summer with their parents and to read. We have been putting in these little free libraries just to create a public awareness campaign and to give neighbors an opportunity to check out books when they don't go to the library if it's too far away. And we've also done something a little bit more programmatic, and we're investing in a program where all the children who are 0 to 5 in our pilot schools districts are getting a free book mailed to their home every month. So that's a little more costly, but we're trying out a lot of different things. And guess what? We're testing all this, and we're collecting data to see if it works. So books in the home, super important. Here's a picture. This was at Moon Elementary, one of our pilot schools, and my colleague happened to be there that day, and she took a picture of this. This is a family that just drove up in the summer and was getting books for her children. And I see the one over here on the corner of Virginia, and just the other day I saw a family using it, and I just got so excited. And I have nothing to do with that one, but to see it happen and to see it get used, it's doing something. Simple but sweet. The other one, and I get this all the time, everyone on the steering committee does, what about the families? What are you doing to help parents? Because if that's your number one outcome, that's where you need to be investing all your resources. And you know what? We agree. And research supports that, by the way. There was a longitudinal study done in Jamaica that followed kids all the way through adult. And what they discovered is that in the control group, children whose parents had been counseled to talk and read and sing to their children, Those children as adults were, not only did they exhibit more self-control, they have higher IQs, and they earn 25% more on average. So once again, for our economic folks in the room, it's a good investment of time to invest in parents to coach and be with their children. Now, talk, read, sing, play, this is simple stuff. So we worked in the Children and Families Commission, and how they invested is they made sure for their professional development last year, they really talked about literacy in in-home daycares and how important it is to focus on that. We, in Stanford, created this cool text model, so we're trying to roll that out for parents in Head Start and Housing Authority. It went home in their bill. We're going to sign up as many families as we can to kind of learn about how to engage with their child. But the other thing that I'm really excited about is our partnership with the library and Congregations Building Community, because what they've done is pretty miraculous. They're taking all the pilot schools and looking around the pilot school and looking for the churches and looking for the laundromats and looking for the large, ag sites and businesses. Where do families live, work, and pray? How can we reach those families? Because, a lot of times there's a cultural barrier. There's a structural barrier. They just can't show up to that meeting at the school when maybe their child has not been performing as well. So how can we get to them wherever they are? So the library, even today, about 10 o'clock, I'm going to be going to a farm to hear the library present to over 100 employees on a farm to learn about how they can engage and be their child's first teacher. So I'm really excited about those types of models because it's getting around those barriers that we know exist for us. And it's all going to be done in Spanish. So what are some of the early outcomes that we're seeing? So this was an event that happened at Burbank School. So Olga from the library and my buddy Omero Mejia from Congregations Building Community met with the principal, Jim Mendonça, and said, what do you need? How can we help you? And he said, well, I never get parents to show up at this school. And it's really important that we get them to feel engaged. And I said, okay, well, what's coming up? And they learned that open house was on a specific day that month in May. And they said, well, we're going to do the Day of the Child on that day. And we're going to invite a bunch of people just to show up, and we're going to see what happens. So they invited the police department and the fire department. And they had a culturally, this is a storyteller. She's a native storyteller. And they created this huge event. 600 families showed up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the day of open house to participate in this. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So the historical open house participation rate is 25% at Burbank Elementary School. On that day, they had 85% participation. So the principal and the teachers were kind of shocked. They've never seen so many families on campus before. And one of the quotes from a parent is, open house was so great this year, there were so many things to do, and we had just not enough time. My family really enjoyed it. And the teacher said, this is the most well-attended open house we've ever seen. And the other cool things that happened that I heard kind of afterwards was that some of the parents signed up for their brand new PTC, their parent-teacher club that didn't exist before. Like 6 parents signed up that night. And the other thing that happened is one of the parents walked up to Omero Mejia and said, hey, I love this. Why doesn't the school do this all the time? This is so cool. And he's like, you need to make that happen. That's up to you. So we're working on it, guys. The other piece, and I'm going to fly through this, is attendance. And we know that kids are missing a lot of school, especially in the early years. The more school you miss in the early years, the less likely you're going to be reading proficiently by the end of 3rd grade. Here's the data that we got in Burbank School. Over 25% of the kids are missing over a month of school, and that's when they're learning how to read. So we're starting to do new messaging. We're focusing on the family of young children, and we're going to be sending out postcards the day the child misses 2 days. We're not waiting for 15 days. Early warning has an early response. And it needs to be something from a trusted adult, like a teacher, and a handwritten note, something different. We're also investing a lot of time in summer. Summer is a time where all children fall behind. But what's interesting is if you don't have access and resources, you're not going to camp. You're not going on those really expensive vacations. You may not have anything going on in the summer but a TV and a screen. So we know that this is something that really affects low-income children. So the first thing we tried is investing in pilot schools to keep their libraries open over the summer. And they all did. And last summer we had 1,000 children participate in some smaller programs, camps at some of the pilot schools. And we immediately learned that there's certain models that are working better than others. Chrysler Elementary School is doing a wonderful model where they open the entire school, they partner with Central West Ballet, Great Valley Museum, all of these different community-based organizations that have diverse programming to offer the school. And they invite all these kids to come for free. They sign up for camp. It's not remediation, and I want to stress that. This is not punishment. This is fun. This is things that their families would love to pay for their children, but they can't. So the school is that place. So we've invested, thanks to a partnership with the Modesto Bee and Stanislaus Community Foundation, all the pilot schools have resources to try out a summer program. And guess what? We're learning. Next year, the programs we're honing in on what's working and what's not. And that's okay if something doesn't work because we are learning from it. But we are really excited about some of the things that are coming out from this summer. And I can't wait to tell you more of the details in our next year's report. This is from this summer. So this was at Chrysler Elementary School. This was part of their STEAM program this summer. They were making sailboats that they were about to sail. This is in their Jump Start program they're doing for children who don't qualify for Head Start or who have never attended preschool. They get 4 weeks right before school starts to catch up on what they've been missing and to kind of learn how to sit still and get some practices for their parents. There was a robotics club, arts. This is my buddy Joe. He came to visit Sylvan that did an Iron Chef program. So this is all just a variety of ideas, right? Not one program. We don't know the answers yet, but we're going to keep learning. So I hope today that you see yourself in this work. So I'd really love for you to maybe find someone you don't know. I bet that doesn't exist in this room, huh? There's no one you don't know. But if you could turn to someone behind you and talk about where do you see your organization, your church, your neighborhood in this effort. I know there's 1,000 ideas in this room, and we'd love to hear from you. So please, thank you so much. This was a joy to be here today.
Hey, you know what? There's some things Cheryl and I, my wife and I, we did some well things, and I'll tell you that in a minute. But when my girls were 5 years old, I can remember sitting around the table when they could understand. And we said to them, honey, girls, mom and dad are going to mess you up. That was our first sentence around the table one evening. We're going to mess you up because we're messed up. So when you are old enough and you understand, we'll pay for your counseling if you want it, right? Because just like you, and I've talked to some today with teenagers, and you're like pulling your hair out if you had any hair. You're pulling your hair out with your teenagers and those kind of things. And the fact is, because we're broken, we're going to mess our kids up. You know, they're going to have problems because of us. That's some of it. So, but the one thing that Cheryl and I did really well was this whole appreciation of loving reading. And it wasn't just reading or even getting good grades. It was, we want them to be lifelong learners. We wanted them to love learning. So we had one of our daughters that, man, she loved the structure of school, and she loved sitting behind the desk, and man, she just flew through school. Now we had a different one that we literally drug her across the graduation platform because she wasn't a sit behind the desk kind of person. She's my little entrepreneur, our treasure seeker, but I tell you what, as soon as she walked across that stage, the whole world opened up to her, and she's continued to love learning and continues to expand. And so I want to encourage you all to continue, not just with your own families, but also all of you in this room are leaders of leaders. You are all influencers. And so as you leave the room this morning, again, if this is one of those places that scratches where you itch or touches your heart, whatever analogy you want to use, I want to encourage you to bring people along. I know there was a little awkward moment when the 71% came on about the third graders unable to read. That was a little awkward because some of us didn't understand until we really saw the not ready for reading. And we've got to all continue to work on that. And I want to segue with this. It's very easy for us in our city or even in this time in our society to start throwing rocks and complaining and blaming. And I felt for a couple of the school board members that are in here because sometimes I watch them behind the dice, is that how you say it? Dais, okay, or whatever that is. And whatever that thing is behind, and they get thrown at and complained at and that kind of thing. And that seems to be sometimes the culture, not just in our city and our culture. And I want to encourage all of us and I have to work at this too. We're in a season where let's pitch in together. Let's bless in this honor, because I do know what it's like to sit behind there and complain and moan, and you work hard and you volunteer and you give your time and energy, and sometimes people just want to complain at the rocks. Don't be that kind of person. The person you and I need to be, whether you get what you want or I get what I want or we don't, are people that bless, that people that are encouraging, that want to come alongside and say, civilly and respectfully, we see things differently and we do it privately. But you know what? Let's figure this thing out together, and we'll stay in this thing together. And I want to say that to you because I'm in the middle of that. I can be in the middle of that in our city. I can be in the middle of that, and we see it on television all the time. And I want to continue to encourage us, whether it's this reading issue or lack of this, or I got an email this morning from somebody that said somebody said this, but then this didn't happen, and so so I want to encourage all of us. And here's why. I do not want to ever be a person, and let's encourage this for all of us. Let's not be people that grow bitter and resentful and angry to the point that it poisons us. And it takes over who I am. I know my God's been talking to me about the spiritual discipline of celebration. And that spiritual discipline of celebration is practicing gratitude. So I want to be thankful and really work on that. No matter agree or disagree, or I like this or I don't like this, to say, you know what, thank you so much for what you do. You know what, we'll get through this and we're going to stay in this thing together. And that's either a spiritual discipline, which is for me, of gratitude, of celebration, or just, I hear so much about all of you. And the streets talk about all of you in this room, the Catalyst group, of positive energy, of can do. Let's stay at this thing. We fall on our face. We fail, but we get back up. And I want to encourage all of us. Let's continue to do that. And let's be a group of people, no matter what the obstacles, no matter what's happening in our city or with our children, let's stay positive. And those aren't just cliche words. This isn't about you. This is about my own soul. I'll get ugly and awful, and it poisons me. And it makes us awful people. So, hey, if that's not your struggle, great. You might need counseling to settle that, because I know, Michael Wright will be here in a couple of months. My counselor, he knows all my stories. So why do I want to tell you that? Because when I saw that 71%, I thought, ugh. And some of us are tendency to, let's go blame somebody. Let's go, no, you know what? Get up and go do something about it. Or get somebody who can do it. And let's participate together, because there's nobody else but us. There's no other but us. And I think Amanda said that. This is about us. And I'm going to end here because I'm taking too long, is that I was telling Amanda at the beginning, I'm so proud of her in her generation. Because again, as Joe mentioned, some of us with gray hair, let's begin to move aside, strengthen them, journey with them. Let's walk alongside them, because they're an incredible generation. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in our city as we go forward. So I think that's about it. I want to thank God for you. Over the next couple of weeks, you're going to be getting a letter from me, and not just you, but others. We are a faith-based nonprofit, and we exist through donations and donors and partners. No, we're not going to beat you over the head with it. But we're going to say, hey, if you want to participate with who we are and what we're doing all through the city, and you will get a whole list of what that is. If you want to participate with us, fantastic. If not, fantastic. We're going to continue to do incredible things here together. But I want to encourage you, if you want to participate with us as a monthly donor, that kind of thing, you are going to be invited to participate with us. So let me thank God for us. I want to thank God for Amanda and this young woman who with lots of energy and lots of dreams. Let's pray for us. Thank you, Master, for Amanda. What a joy she is to our community. And I thank you for her dreaming, her being an advocate for our city. And Master, you did remind me as I saw city council members today, my friend, the city manager, school board members. Master, we are in a season, and it's been too long in our city, where we are so quick to be angry. Master, no matter what, I know that I don't want to be a person who's been ugly and poisoned because of my own resentments and bitternesses, or I didn't get my way. Lord, let's continue to and encourage us to be beautiful people, to celebrate this discipline of celebration through gratitude. I don't always know what that looks like, Lord. I know, though, together we can make this a sweet place to live, a sweet city to live in for everybody. And Lord, for all those families and those children who need to continue to be encouraged to be lifelong learners in reading, I pray together, Lord, we tackle that. And there are so many things to tackle. So many things to tackle. In Christ's name, amen. Hey, thank you. Next month, my friend Lincoln Ellis will be here we talked about reading today, but teenagers next month. So my friend Lincoln right there. And bless you guys. Have a good morning. Yeah, I'm a Marvin fan. Yeah, thanks.